Okay, imagine this. You get an email. Looks pretty official, something about a copyright violation. But it's not, generic. It actually mentions your company's Facebook page ID, stuff that feels weirdly specific. You think, okay, better check this out, maybe avert some minor legal thing. You click. But what if that click wasn't just opening a document? What if it, unlocked the door to something new, something really personal, a cyber threat spreading globally? Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we sift through the latest research, our own notes, find the crucial insights, and basically boil it all down for you. Today, we're going deep into a pretty sophisticated global cyber attack campaign, our mission. To really unpack this threat, researchers are calling Noodlophile. How does it work? Who's it targeting? And why is it so darn hard to spot? We're going to uncover some, honestly, quite audacious methods these attackers are using, especially how they're weaponizing personalization. It's quite something.
Yeah, and that personalization piece, that's really key here. It's what sets Noodlophile apart. We need to understand not just the technical stuff, the what, but also the psychology, the why it's so effective. I mean, this campaign really forces us to rethink what safe even means online now, right? For big companies, sure, but also just for, individuals navigating the web.
Okay, right. So Noodlophile itself, let's unpack that. Our sources, they're saying this isn't just theoretical. It's a working campaign. It's actively sweeping across the globe. We're talking an info stealer malware hitting businesses in the US, Europe, the Baltics, Asia Pacific. It's widespread.
It really is. And what's insightful about Noodlophile is how it almost weaponizes that ubiquity. Being everywhere isn't just about grabbing more data. It sort of normalizes the threat. When something's this pervasive, defending against it isn't just reacting anymore. It demands this constant proactive skepticism. Makes you ask, are our security models even built for this? For a world where stealth is the norm and, well, trust is the main thing they exploit.
That's a really good point. And the way in, the main entry point for this pervasive threat, it's pure deception. Spear phishing emails. But these aren't your usual spam messages, right? They're pretending to be copyright violation notices. That's a specific, and you have to admit, pretty effective lure.
Oh, absolutely. It's fascinating, the psychology there. Using copyright notices, for any business, that rings alarm bells. Legal trouble, fines, damage to your reputation. It creates this immediate sense of urgency, maybe even fear. And that pressure, it pushes people to act fast. Without the careful thought that might normally expose a scam, they're literally betting on your anxiety.
And to ramp up that anxiety, the emails aren't generic. Sources say they often come from what look like regular Gmail accounts, but then they drop in these highly personal touches like your company's actual Facebook page ID or ownership details. It just makes it feel so much more real, like the sender actually knows you, knows your business.
And that personalization is exactly how they get past a lot of the standard email filters. Those filters might catch generic stuff, but it looks tailored. More importantly, it turns readily available public information into a weapon. It builds this instant, though totally fake, sense of trust. Or, like you said, fear. Makes it so much harder for someone on the receiving end to realize it's a scam, because it's using their own digital footprint against them.
Okay, so you fall for it, you click the link. What happens then? It's not just a PDF document, is it?
Yeah.
This is where the mechanics get, really interesting. Those Dropbox links in the emails, they don't give you a simple document. No, they drop ZIP or MSI files disguised as PDFs.
Yeah, it's an old trick, but still works remarkably well. Masking is something executable with ZIP file, an MSI installer is just a harmless PDF. Most people see .pdf and think save to open. But ZIPs and MSIs, they run code. That's the jump from just viewing something to actually compromising your system. It's a risk many users, understandably, just don't spot in the heat of the moment.
And the installation itself, it's not straightforward. It's multi-stage, kind of complex. The files actually sideload a malicious DLL through a legitimate signed PDF reader application. So it's not just installing something new and suspicious, it's hijacking something you already trust, something you probably use daily.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so insidious. Sideloading a DLL, that's a dynamic link library, basically means the malware hitches a ride on a program that's already running and trusted. In this case, a signed PDF reader. Because the reader itself is legitimate, signed by a known developer, it often sails right past security checks that look for unknown programs. So your own trusted software becomes the delivery vehicle. Makes detection at that first stage incredibly difficult.
And then to make sure it sticks around, Noodlophile uses batch scripts and registry entries to stay active on the device. It's not looking for a quick smash and grab. It wants to move in permanently.
Persistence is crucial for attackers like this, especially if they want to siphon off data over time. by tweaking Windows registry entries and using scripts. The malware makes sure it starts up automatically every time the computer boots up, so even if you restart thinking you fixed something, nope. Noodlophile is right back at it, quietly stealing data, potentially for weeks or even months without anyone noticing.
Okay, so it gets in, it stays put. But moving beyond that initial breach, what seems to really stand out for the researchers is this almost brazen tactic using Telegram group descriptions as a dead drop tool.
Hmm.
That feels next level, not just sneaky, but a really clever bit of misdirection, right?
Oh, it's more than clever. It signals a real shift in how these attackers operate. Using a legitimate platform like Telegram, specifically the description field of a group, as a dead drop. It's ingenious. That's where it fetches the instructions or the location of the actual payload server. It's such an unusual channel for malware communication. That makes it way harder to detect than, say, direct connections to known bad servers. Your standard network monitoring might miss it entirely because it's hiding in the noise of everyday apps.
Hiding in plain sight. So they're using Telegram for commands. What about on the machine itself? Is it leaving traces? Researchers also flagged that the malware hides in memory and avoids leaving files on disk, like a real ghost in the machine.
That's a perfect analogy. Memory-resident malware, stuff that avoids writing files to the hard drive. It's notoriously hard to find and analyze. Think about it. If there are no malicious files to scan, how do traditional security tools even spot it? It leaves very few forensic breadcrumbs, makes incident response a nightmare, and lets the malware operate undetected for much longer. It really forces a rethink on detection strategies, moving beyond just file scanning.
Right, so let's talk payoff. What's actually at stake here? What is Noodlophile stealing right now, and what's potentially next? Currently, it's grabbing quite a range. Browser cookies, saved credit card data, even system details like RAM and installed software. That's a pretty wide net.
And that data is gold for criminals. Browser cookies can be used to hijack your online sessions, get into accounts without needing passwords, credit card data, obvious path to financial fraud. But the system details RAM, software lists, that's reconnaissance. It tells the attackers what you're running, potentially revealing vulnerabilities. It's information they can use for more targeted attacks later, or even sell to other cybercriminals on the dark web. It's often just the first step.
And speaking of next steps, it sounds like it gets worse. The code analysis shows plans to grow even more dangerous. We're talking future capabilities for screen capture, keylogging, process tracking, and file encryption. That's moving way beyond just stealing existing data.
Absolutely. That's a major escalation. Screen capture, keylogging that's full-on surveillance of everything you do. Process tracking lets them understand your workflows, maybe steal intellectual property, and file encryption. That screams ransomware. It suggests the end game isn't just stealing data anymore. It could be about taking complete control and extorting the victim, turning the infected system into a fully controlled asset for whatever purpose they choose.
And connecting back to the beginning, the researchers have identified a pretty specific target profile. Companies with active social media accounts, especially those with Facebook presences, which links right back to those personalized emails using the Facebook page ID. It's a neat, scary little feedback loop, isn't it?
It really is. It shows how attackers are leveraging our own public engagement against us. Companies trying to be visible online, especially on Facebook, are basically handing attackers the raw materials for reconnaissance. Company names, ownership details, page ID itself, it's all out there. They gather that public info, use it to make the phishing emails incredibly convincing, and boom, your strength public engagement becomes a vulnerability, a stark reminder that any online info can potentially be weaponized.
Okay, so let's try and pull this all together. This deep dive, it's shown Noodlophile to be, well, seriously clever and worryingly pervasive. We've seen the psychological tricks in the phishing, the sneaky multi-stage infiltration using trusted software, the really innovative use of Telegram as a hard-to-trace dead drop, and the valuable data it's already grabbing. Plus, these ominous future plans for full surveillance and maybe even ransomware. It's a lot. So what's the takeaway here for you listening? I mean, it's a clear reminder that cyber threats are constantly evolving, getting smarter. Even if you don't run a business, understanding these kinds of tactics, the hyper-personalization, the disguise files, abusing trusted apps helps you spot red flags. Vigilance, that constant questioning, it really is your best first defense.
Exactly. That knowledge is a critical layer. The sophistication we see with Noodlophile, from the social engineering right down to the technical evasion, it just highlights this ongoing cat and mouse game in cybersecurity. It really hammers home the need to question things, even communications that look legitimate, especially if they try to rush you or use details about you that seem a bit too specific, maybe gleaned from public sources. Always verify, never just assume.
And maybe one final thought to leave you with as we wrap up. When attacks get this sophisticated, using our own public data against us, hiding inside the tools and platforms we trust, how much of our digital trust are we, maybe unknowingly, placing in the hands of completely invisible adversaries? And what does that mean for how we interact online, for, I don't know, the very fabric of our digital lives? Something to mull over. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.